Okay, in all honesty, even though this movie skipped theaters and went to either on Paramount Plus or straight to digital, I wasn't all that excited for it anyway. But out of curiosity, like I usually do, I wanted to check to see if the content in the film holds up or not. Just like how the old saying goes, and even Thomas the Tank Engine took that message to heart. They even made a simple song about it too. Never judge something by its cover, not just a book, but movies, games, or anything for that matter. Judge them based on the contents that the movie, video game, TV show, or book presents itself. Yeah, I'm old school. Don't you dare judge me either. With that said, let's take a look at this movie, shall we? Also, rest in peace to the creator of this whole franchise, Steven Hillenburg. You surely will be missed. Yo, what is up, my Cinedroids? G to the S here. Today, I'm gonna be reviewing the third SpongeBob movie in the supposed trilogy, the SpongeBob movie Sponge on the Run. When SpongeBob SquarePants' beloved pet snail Gary goes missing, a path of clues leads SpongeBob and his best friend Patrick to the powerful King Poseidon, played by Matt Berry, who has Gary captive in the lost city of Atlantic City. On their mission to save Gary, SpongeBob and the Bikini Bottom gang team up for a heroic and hilarious journey, where they discover nothing is stronger than the power of friendship. Yeah, we'll see about that momentarily. I have some things to say about this movie. But first, let me think of some of the good things that make it at the least bit enjoyable to watch real quick. First off, the creative use of CGI in this film looks cool. It's made to look like a CG updated version of the classic traditional hand-drawn look that we grew up with. It kind of reminds me of the CGI animation used in the Peanuts movie, where it's all CGI animated but it's made to look like the 2D hand-drawn style that we're all familiar with. It's kind of like what this film is like. So props to both Paramount and Nickelodeon for making the CG animation look really impressive, while at the same time keeping the traditional 2D hand-drawn style that we're all familiar with. Let's see if they can keep this up from there. Even the Kim Morgan cinematography looks cool as well. As we expected to happen, there's a live-action CG hybrid sequence where both SpongeBob and Patrick come across an old abandoned ghost town. And by ghost town, I mean literal ghost town. And they enter some sort of bar where at first it seems like no one is there. But a few minutes later, ghosts and zombies start to pop in out of nowhere and hang out together. And I gotta admit, except for that unnecessary dance number in that scene and Snoop Dogg coming in as a guest star for some odd reason, performing this bizarre musical number, catchy though, but I thought that looked cool. I love when CGI characters interact with the real world. That's like my favorite thing to watch in any movie. So again, props to the CG artists and camera crew for making it look at the least bit eye-popping and more three-dimensional. Great job. Oh, speaking of guest appearances, kinda weird that they casted Keanu Reeves, the guy that voiced Duke Kaboom in Toy Story 4, as well as the main action star in many movies he has been in, which I will not review, like The Matrix, Speed, John Wick, and so much more. Too many to count. But he plays a tumbleweed named Sage, which is basically the burning bush from the Exodus story reincarnate, but acts as their guide to help both SpongeBob and Patrick get Gary back from King Poseidon. But I can tell he is having fun with the role. All he looks like is a green screen head inside a computer-generated tumbleweed. How can you top that? He looks handsome though. Got the beard there, great hair. Still not enough to win me over, unfortunately. The story and execution is what I'm mostly looking for. And I'm very disappointed to say that in terms of the way they executed the story, I was bored throughout the whole thing. I mean, it's very simple at the very least. Gary has been snail napped. That's the only clever line that SpongeBob said in this entire movie. But he said that like he's 100% transfixed about it, not as a joke. But anyways, he teams up with his friend Patrick Star, as well as Squidward, Mr. Krabs, Plankton, and even Sandy the Squirrel, to help him get Gary back from King Poseidon before it's too late. But still, stone-faced throughout the whole thing. Showed no emotion whatsoever. Why? Because mostly, in terms of the film's comedic timings and or humor, in typical Hollywood fashion, all this film resorts to is pop cultural references and playing pop songs out of nowhere. Yes, I noticed. And they didn't even take their time to focus on telling a thought-provoking and memorable story. I mean, there is an underlying message throughout this whole film, and that is that nothing is more important than having a friend who's not only close to you, but helps you in your time of need whenever you need help. Sure, I don't mind that. But the way they hammered in that message kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. In terms of character development, I feel like the message was told to kids rather than shown to them. If you want a movie that shows kids the power of friendship without even telling it to them, Toy Story is one of them. Sure, there is a scene where Woody tells Buzz that even though he was delusional and keeps claiming himself that he's a real space ranger, spoiler alert, he then realized that he was actually a toy while watching a commercial about Buzz Lightyear himself. But either way, Woody tells him that he doesn't have to act like a real superhero to show appreciation to their owner, Andy, even though Woody was being a complete jerk to Buzz since Andy's birthday. But the way they illustrated this particular message shows the gravity of their friendship and their eventual bond by the end of the film. That's how you hammer in a message properly. Just show your target audience what it means to build friendship rather than ham it up with something preachy and dialogue-y about it. But again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? But I did like how you kept the transition effects with the bubbles from the TV show. In terms of adapting from the source material, you did a really great job on that. Also, the direction coaching from the guy who directed Muppets from Space, which I didn't even notice. I'll give the movie that. But regardless, in terms of both performing behind the microphone for voiceover or performing on camera while doing live action, he did an impressive job with that. I'll admit, Keanu Reeves is having way too much fun with this movie. I bet they made a lot of memes of him on the internet. If they did, leave them down in the comments below. I would love to check them out. But still, for the role he was given, he did a great job. And as for the voice acting performance, it's your typical 90-minute SpongeBob episode. All the actors from the show did really well, from Tom Kenny to Bill Fagerbakke to Clancy Brown to Roger Bumpus, even to the voice of Sandy, Caroline Lawrence. They all sound like these characters from the show. So props to Tim Hill for bringing them to life. But still, other than those few things that I just mentioned, in the end, I thought the SpongeBob movie Sponge on the Run was highly forgettable. It's not the worst movie of all time or anything, but it's just not my go-to movie to watch. I thought the first SpongeBob movie, you know, the one that came out in 2004, I thought that one was way better. To me, this is right up there with the second SpongeBob movie that came out almost a half a decade ago, being one of the most forgettable SpongeBob movies I've ever seen. At least for me. And as a result, I rate Sponge on the Run a 2.5 stars out of 5. I mean, if your kids do want to watch this movie, it's on Paramount Plus right now. Let them have their fun. But for me, I would rather watch one of the Rugrats movies than watch this again. Just saying. So the SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run. You've seen it, right? Well, let me know in the comments, what's your all-time favorite Nickelodeon movie thus far? For me, The Adventures of Tintin. Hands down. Even bought the Blu-ray, one of my absolute faves. But I would love to hear your thoughts down below, please. But if you like this video and you want to see some more, make sure that like button shines in your face. That'll totally help me out a ton. Also, share it with your family and friends and favorite it. That's a very good way to show support for this review. Also, if you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe and ring that bell right next to you so you can be notified of future videos that I have in store for you. Also, if you want a shout out in a future video, just follow me on both Instagram and Twitter, and I will choose one of my Cinedroids to be displayed as a shout out. The link's in the description below. Also, I'm starting up a gaming channel for you guys. Yeah, it's a work in progress at the moment, but I promise you it's going to be a lot of fun. There's either a link in the description or a link on the icon at the top right corner of your screen. Go to that channel, subscribe, and let's have a lot of fun together. But until then, I'll see you next time. Peace out.